doing?
Up, down. Penny, down.
Funny little skip.
That's because those things scare her.
Digging for gold. Keep digging, puppy. I don't think they'd make very good truffle dogs.
No.
Milo. Hello. It's Milo. It's Penny. He's determined to take a bite out of that. Good morning, Trish. We're dog sitting. These are our daughter's dogs. Nice and warm here today. 34, I think, degrees Celsius would be 91. Okay.
Next one, kiss and say I love you.
No. Settling it down a bit. As it gets evening, they quieten down a bit. Most of the day they're playing. They had mashed potato, scrambled eggs, and the smallest piece of bacon chopped up so fine, mixed in. And they love that. And they got biscuits, of course. We don't give them a big portion. Treat every now and then. Trish says, I love yous, Mrs. Seeds.
Is that awesome?
Trish,
Okay.
I don't know. If that's awesome, I don't know. She's incognito then.
Oh, you have to rent it. It's awesome.
Well, I don't know. I don't see all that when I'm on the Streamlabs.
I'll have to go back on your computer and have a look.
Ah, must be awesome. She says, how's my garden?
Yep.
That's it over there. Everything's basically doubled in size over the 2 weeks we put it in. Cucumbers are going really well. That's them. There. Cherry tomatoes going berserk. Yeah, it's going good. Oh, I don't know if I got this camera right. Born again. Trish has been born again. Apparently, she said that previous person was a plant killer,
Okay.
known as Awesome Who. Now she's just Trish.
Okay. Well, you can rent her up and do it on the computer, go back after and watch the chat.
Let's work with this, okay? So that was Awesome Hooker's garden,
Oh.
and now this is Trish's. So did you inherit the garden? It's probably, legal thing, Trish. I'm not sure whether there's a Boyd lawyer handy. Hello, VMAC.
Hey, VMAC. My chocolate buddy.
So it was quite warm here today. Not hot. 34. That's not hot. It was nice, actually. Why not having a day like today?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you've got a bit hot.
We've got the... I should give them a quick look around the side. Go down. Oh, hello, Maggie. I better come and give you a biscuit.
Hang on, I'll get a biscuit.
A close-up?
Oh, not a close-up. Get my ass in there.
No, the lens isn't that wide, dear. So you can see sort of what's going on there. There's two little windows you see, one down the very end and one up the top there for the bathrooms. And the gaps in the middle, they're for the windows. This is only the outer layer of bricks, so I can't zoom in, but that's what's happening. They're starting to move along nicely. So these cukes, if you remember when they went in, they weren't this big. These have gone really berserk. Cherry tomato decided to do whatever it wants to. Everything else is going good. These lettuce are going well too. I actually call these sacrifice lettuce, even though that was a tiny little thing a couple of weeks ago. They grow quick. Sacrifice lettuce go on the edge of a garden, and then you notice bugs because the leaves start getting attacked. And then you can spray my stinky organic fertilizer. There's even flowers in some of these small tomato bushes, which is extraordinary. So we're going to be having tomatoes shortly, way ahead of time. Climate change, I tell you, it's true. And there's one for VMAC. There you go, VMAC. Wrap your laughing gear around that. Here are the canine prison. What you doing, Wiley? Looking at the camera. Actually, basil can go crazy. I mean, we've got a really good climate for growing anything really, but basil goes mad. I once had a basil bush, seriously, well over 4.5 feet high. And I don't eat a lot of basil. I put a bit of basil in this and that, you know what I mean? But all the other herbs I use all the time. Hello, Soggy Bottom. But this is not the garden that we'll end up with. This is going to disappear in probably about 3 months. But I will have my raised garden beds down at the back, and I will grow monster vegetables. It'll be called VMAX Heaven. That's right. There'll be an awesome hooker garden here, who no longer exists. Apparently Trish is looking into the legal side of ownership. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But there'll be a VMAX Heaven, a bed of vegetables. Good thing about basil, and I tell you it's true, is that even though I'll get tons of it, I will pick it up and I'll chop it harshly at the end of the season. I'll dry it, and dried basil is potent. Any of you that have dried your own herbs know what I'm talking about. Your dried herbs are very strong. They're our daughters. But we will have two very similar of our own in the future. Very harsh, VMAC. Very harsh. Well, I mean, some of you are now going to start saying things. I just saw what Trish wrote and what VMAC wrote. Look, I mean, I suppose in the end we can attribute climate change to Awesome Hooker. But she's gone now. She's no longer here. Like I say, Trish is seeking legal advice, not owning anything of the past and moving forward to the future. With climate change, ladies and gentlemen, will be blamed on Awesome Hooker, for sure. Well, there's one good thing about Awesome Hooker. You know the other lady, Trish. At least, because she really didn't grow anything, means there's no weeds as well. A bit of a bonus. Hello, Kathy. I got a bit grumpy this morning. The builder, who's a bit of a cowboy on bobcats, damaged our fence, which he's going to fix. And I kept warning him, don't go near these other windows that I have all nicely wrapped up and, you know, safe. And he went too close and he smashed a panel of our Art Deco 1940 windows. So I phoned up the company today and said, you'll be fixing that. And they went, oh, that's no good. Yeah, we'll have to fix it. I said, I'm going to tell you now, $1,000 will disappear very quickly. They went, oh dear. But they'll be fixing it. Yes, we spent a long time finding those windows. And he's a bit like a cowboy when it comes to bobcat driving. He's not a bobcat driver. He just does it, you know what I mean? So yeah, I was a bit peeved about that happening, but they'll fix it. Just hope it doesn't have a great differential from the original. Oh, we're going to get into craft work. Hello, Keeping. Now, accidents happen, but he's not a very good bobcat driver. He just does it. And he's part owner of the company, so he can do what he likes, I guess. But I actually spoke to the Brickies, and they're old fellas, and they're doing a great job. And I didn't say anything, and the old fella said to me, have you ever seen this guy drive a bobcat? I said, yeah. He said, well, he's the worst bobcat driver we've ever seen. I said, I can only confirm what you're saying.
He's a cowboy.
They just laughed. Painting wine glasses again. How do you cure them, or is it just a water-based paint, or is it acrylic? I imagine it's an acrylic. If you wait a little while, Keeping, I'll be showing you my wife's puppies. Well, actually my daughter's puppies. They're just going for their evening walk. We made a little area around here, cleaned all this up so they can be outside when we have a cup of coffee, because little chihuahuas do not like to be ignored. So we've got an outdoor area. I tell you what, I've seen someone that used to do that also do, Trish, is they used to make like a stencil for windows and do decorative and make a lot of money, believe it or not. This lady used to get ideas off people, and then that she'd show them some sketches and she'd ask about colours, and I think a small window would take her about a day, and she charged accordingly, like $300 or $400 a day. And then if you wanted to, she could add that, it's a stick-on stencil that makes it look like LED lighting. Do you know what I mean? Well, you're not doing much different from a wine glass, which is actually concave and harder to paint than a flat screen paved window. Some people just have a particular part of a window with a picture. Could be butterflies, little Thumbelina type things, or doves, if you're artistic enough to do it. But you can actually buy stencils to do all these things. He used to be a breeder of miniature chihuahuas. Well, the only reason there's the tiny little crate around here is because these would wander. They're inside dogs at my daughter's place. But we like to give them a bit of fresh air.
I'll take you in
Pick
a minute.
me up. Pick me up. A bit of a sookie, aren't you? Penny, you're a sookie bum. Well, a miniature chihuahua like these, my daughter brought Milo, what's he now, 6 months?
Yeah.
6 months ago, she paid over $2,000. But dogs in Australia, purebreds, can go for like $4,000 and $5,000.
Yeah, it was about 2. Penny was 1,200 or something.
Yeah. So they're not cheap. They've got pet insurance, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because vet bills are horrendous.
And they're desexed.
So they're like me.
Yeah.
They've been desexed. Okay. Well, they'll double in size. That's what happened to me. Yeah, they don't have a great... all right, see you soon, V-Mac. I mean, we lost our Chihuahua nearly 10 years ago. And we haven't had another dog since because we've been doing so much in between. Plus, we really didn't want to get one up until now, did we? So, yeah, a big time between losing one and getting another one. She sent you a couple of pics of some glasses I did by hand.
Oh, have a look later. It's my phone's on the charger.
But I don't know, she'd worked out the legal ramifications
Yes.
of this other
Yeah.
woman, the awesome hooker, and then
Hey,
Trish.
what was that for? Milo wasn't doing anything for you, Penny.
Well, we've already got the guy for the garden, getting a very large limestone slab organised with the words awesome hooker printed in it. So
We'll have to change it.
it's only a couple of $1,000 to fix that up, but she'll be right. Yeah, so by the end of this week, you'll be seeing a big change out the back, even though it's what we call the outer leaf of the building. So the internal walls, when they start, they'll start including the windows. That may not be till the beginning of next week, but I think some of them will be started by the end of the week.
Milo, get your nosy. No.
He wants that little bit of grass on the outside. Yeah, so a nice warm day, 34 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. I think it's 90 something, 91, 92, or maybe a bit higher, but it was beautiful.
Oh, Milo.
We like the warmth. You did all your dog shot except for rabies. I think you need a certificate for that here too, but we don't have rabies in Australia. But I mean, if you brought a dog from overseas to Australia, you need a certificate. And then there's 3 months quarantine. That's why our quarantine laws are very strict. There's lots of things we don't have as diseases in this country. Yep, 3 months, and you got to pay for it too. What's the normal cost? Something
It
like
costs
that.
about $5,000
Yeah.
to bring it. Well, from England, I know. And what
Yeah.
you do is a quarantine. Say you're already flying home.
You can do quarantine in England, but you still got to do some here, don't you?
No. Say you're already home. Your dog has to be in quarantine in somebody's house that's clear and clean and
In either country,
yes.
but there's still a minimum time in Australia that you...
Basically, you can do it in-house quarantine.
Yeah, so about $5,000 to be a dog, bring a dog here.
Well, that was a couple of years ago.
Could be more now. No, we don't. And it's not often people do bring their dog, obviously, because the price is prohibitive, but people would, I imagine, but the quarantine laws are so strict.
They have to have a special diet, all their needles, and be in-house quarantine for 3 months.
All right, awesome. I mean, I do apologise, Trish. Trish is leaving. She's going to the doctors for a pregnancy test, and she says she likes all of us.
I love ya. Start a rumour. Pregnancy test, eh? Okay,
3 or 4 months, I think, by now.
I can do that.
Yeah. Yes, Johnny Depp got into a bit of trouble, didn't he? Bringing his dogs. You just can't bring them into the country, Johnny, because you got your own jet. It's not how it works. Yes, it's very handy being an island. Bloody big island too. The one thing that we find when you get tourists who will travel around just Sydney or Melbourne, and then they look at a map and they realise they're like days and days travel to get to the other side of Australia. So they don't normally go and look at it. We do have tourists in Western Australia, but they generally fly here direct. Hello, Danny G. Birthday cake whipped soap. Sounds extraordinary weird. Well, in the end, Johnny Depp, believe it or not, could have gone to prison keeping. I'm serious. There was interventions happening from the United States government. It actually works under the law of importing an animal into the country without permission, which is a criminal offence. So he got off that, I think, but just by the skin of his teeth. But I think the dog issue for Johnny Depp at the time didn't compare to some of the other issues he faced just after that.
He ended up donating to some charity in Australia, a massive amount.
I love candles, and I'm sure you mean candles, not handles. You got any handles? 4 candles. What do you want? I want 4 handles. And soap that smell like sweets. It's a bit dangerous if you've had a few drinks. Or this strawberry one tastes good. It's getting a bit dark, puppy dogs, so you're getting scared.
Yeah, I'll put them in a minute.
They shouldn't do, because their eyes are trained for nocturnal.
No, it's more midges I'm worried about.
They really are just miniature wolves. You know that, don't you?
It's more the midges I'm worried about. If you have to screen on it, open the door now.
Yeah, the little... That's Milo, and he's like a tan.
He looks like a miniature Kelpie.
Actually, Penny looks a little bit like a miniature sheepdog to a certain
collie
extent.
dog.
You tasted the soap? No, I don't imagine you did. On my birthday, I had a pavlova for a birthday cake. It's my favourite dessert. I don't have it very often, normally only at Christmas, but I love pavlova. We had strawberries and
Blueberries.
blueberries on it. It was yum.
Okay, puppies in the mic. Come on, babies.
Oh, you're going.
Well, I'm more worried about midges. Come here.
See, I told you I'd show my wife's puppies.
Oh, did I flash? Did I?
No, I'm just saying puppies.
I'm coming to get you, Penny. Don't worry.
No, she's not fussed. Have a good day, VMAC. See you on the time next. The wife's starting up a Harley.
Stay. Come on, Penny. Come on. Come here.
Some bird saying a night whistle. Hasn't started yet, but in about another couple of months we do have those cicadas. She spotted the other dogs, did she? Behave
Stop
yourself.
it, Penny.
There's a lady walking past with some dogs. Actually, she's got 3 or 4 dogs, and in reality they take her for a walk, because they always wander off in different directions, not on the lead.
Stay. birthday, I'll bring your bed in.
You're on camera.
Look.
See them? What are you doing? Why have you left us inside? They got to know everything, don't they, dogs? Alright, from cute puppy. An old face like mine. Woof. Yeah, it was a beaut day though. Looking forward to warmer days. They do. I mean, they don't recognise bigger dogs as like a threat. Chihuahuas tend to think, I'm going to kill you. Warning you. They generally do kill the bigger dog because the bigger dog chokes on the Chihuahua. What kind of cake is that? Similar to a strawberry shortcake, since you said it was strawberries on it. I don't eat a lot of cake actually. But we would take, if someone said you've got to have 90 degrees Fahrenheit every day, we'd say, yep, we'll take that. That's good. I know a lot of people don't like 90 degrees, but we'd live at that temperature. Beautiful. A meringue-based cake. Well, that's like a pavlova. Soggy. That's what meringue pavlova is. Oh, you're talking about what I'm saying, pavlova. Yeah, it's yum. Easy to make, not hard to make. But we won't be on much longer. Yeah, give it a go, you'll love it. It's just so simple. Egg whites. And then cream on top. Strawberries. Blueberries. We plan to have at least a dozen blueberry bushes because we eat tons of them. And we only have a probably 3-month season, really. 4 months maybe. The thing about Chihuahuas keeping, as you know, wherever they go, it's their territory. You go to someone else's house, they own it in 3 minutes. Start barking and demanding, get out of the way. Yeah, so at the end of the week I'll do week 6 video of the build and you'll see a marked change. People, I know, looking at these videos will be a bit confused because some of the building codes we have here, you don't have there. Like you wouldn't put in 40 square metres of concrete. But you'll get a fair indication. And then in about 4 weeks' time, you'll get a real good idea of what's happening. But there's still plenty of weeks to go. I think late January is when we'll be sort of finished, maybe February. Hello, Shamo. But yeah, moving along nicely. And the brickies, even though they're old boys, they're beaut. They ask questions and they'll say, do you want this and that? I go, yep, good. And they know their stuff. They've been around a long time. Wouldn't be lying. I mean, I'm 60. I think one of them's probably 63, 64. The other one might be my age. They don't have anyone labouring for them. They just do all their own mud, move all their own bricks, strong as oxes, big boys, and obviously been doing it all their life. But they'd earned good money in doing this. They'd probably pick up at least $30,000, maybe $40,000 off the build. That would be their money they'll earn in doing it. Good money, but they work hard. They'll be here for another 3 to 4 weeks. So a good bricklayer here would earn easy $3 grand a week, easy. Well, you know what it's like then. You certainly know what 42 square metres of concrete is. That's what the slab was. My very first job, I was a plasterer apprentice, Shamo. Mainly concrete floors and tiling. There's a lot more to being a plasterer, of course. Like plastering, I did a bit of that, but mainly concrete floors and tiling. Long hot days in Australia laying concrete slabs. When it's like 90 degrees at dawn, 110, 115, you have to work real fast. Shamo knows what I'm talking about. There's no mucking around. By the time you finish laying, screeding, in the old days you flick a little bit of cement dust over the top and get your helicopter on, and you'd be helicoptering nearly after you finish screeding on one end of the pad. That's how quick. And you build a little, with most slabs in the old days, you build a little ridge of sand, probably about 5-6 inches high, all the way around the edges, and you flood it with water. Probably don't have to do that in Canada, I imagine. And that would happen, you'd come back and put water on for about 5 days, particularly during the summer, or you're in for a bit of trouble. I suppose your problem there is freezing. I know that'd be worse than the heat. I'm going to remember to do a hangout first thing in the morning one morning. I mean, you can hear the birds going to bed now, but in the morning it's like being in a zoo here. Do they do that there too? Yeah. I mean, on our far end of the house, it's about 700 mil high, Shamo. This is to match the height of the old house. So it's about 700 mil down the end. So for the first 20 metres of concrete, it's what we call fastcrete. I don't know what you call it there, but you know what I'm talking about. So it sets quickly. It's about 3 times, about 3 times the size. But it's not massive. It's a big house. It will be a big house. 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, but we've already got a free bathroom in the old cottage, and the 2 main bedrooms will be en-suites. But we're still, people said, oh, you got no land left. Yes, we have. We've got heaps. You'll see when I finish and they clean up, you'll see we've still got a big area of land. Or big compared to a lot of other people. Do you want your chair up here? I'll go and get it if you like.
Not right now.
Oh, she's sitting on a bum. Want to have a look?
No.
You can't see her.
No, it's too dark. I can just make out. I don't know who's in there.
Actually, I'll be back in a sec. I'm going to get my battery going. Hang on to this for a sec.
Watch the puppy dogs. Make sure they come back out in the video. You can't see me, but you can hear me. Hello, everyone. Let's just get this charger like usual. He forgets to keep an eye on it. I don't know what he's doing. Probably can't find his charger. Nice cup of coffee. I should kidnap his. We'll go hide. Then he's got to find us, eh? No, shush everyone, here he comes. Stop talking about him.
Be good. We have power.
Yeah, just say to them.
Oh, thanks, Gemma. He says to me, "Hello, beautiful." He's that kind of guy.
I haven't got my phone on me, so
Just that kind of guy.
I can't see what the chat is.
Love is in the air.
I didn't hear it go dong. You turn the battery thing on.
Oh, I better do that, eh?
You might have to plug it out and back in again.
Oop. All right, I'll take it out and plug it back in again. I'll hit it again just in case. Thank you very much.
The Chamo is for puppies.
All right, Shama, you have a good day, mate. Steel-toed boots, woolly socks. I bet you're getting a bit of a breeze now. I bet the season's changing for you. Here's a good question to ask you guys. If you're here still, Shamo, this time of the year in Canada, what are the next few weeks like? Is it not too bad, not too cold? Because this is the time of the year we're thinking of being there. That's why I'm asking that question. 21 sounds good to me. But it is that time of the year that obviously you can get a flurry of cooler weather come in, I guess. 21, he says.
I'll just borrow everybody else's jackets who we visit.
It won't be too bad, but I think this is where you maybe go to Canada now at this time.
Yeah.
And then at the end of October you can be in. It'll be cooler by then, but you'll be in.
Salem.
Yeah. But tomorrow it's going to be 3 degrees and snow.
What?
Just as I thought. Well, them the breaks.
No, well, we'll just have to decide. See what happens when May comes around, where we're at with the house.
Yeah, May's good, but you don't get to do your... And I don't mind ragging up, that doesn't bother me.
And this has already put her decorations up.
For...
Halloween. They
in
started,
Pennsylvania, you mean?
Yeah, they start at the beginning of October in America.
Yeah. We've got a niece that lives in Pennsylvania. Philadelphia, actually, isn't it?
Philadelphia.
We're thinking of definitely stopping in Texas. We've got friends we've known for a very long time there. Might have to do a hop, skip and a jump. Have a good day, Shemo. Don't work too hard. Remember, every day you work now is one less you have to do because the end is nigh. 80s, that's not warm for us, that's fine. Yeah, Florida, probably not going there. Texas is good because it's a good hop, and skip and a jump from just about anywhere in the US. 90s is okay. We had 90 something today. We had 34 degrees Celsius, which we thought was beautiful. Tomorrow's dropping down to 28, so that's cooling off. But temperature's relative if you're acclimatised to the heat. No one here worries about 34. Doesn't get a mention, does it?
No.
A heat wave here is considered probably 7 to 10 days over 40. That's considered a heat wave. Nice cuppa. Some of you are probably having a cuppa, but it's morning time for you. So we learnt today that Trish is awesome hooker.
Cost me that.
If you didn't know, you guys all probably did know, because we didn't.
We haven't been on.
No.
Been busy. Big for the next, 2 weeks. Maybe because of the puppies.
Yeah, no, the humidity's not too bad. I mean, I lived in Darwin for a few years. That's humid, but you get used to it. It's everywhere you live. Your temperature would be like, it's a bit cool today, you'd say, and then you might say, it's a bit sticky, but you get used to it because you live through it. It's when you go from another country and you land in an area that's not very hot, like our daughter's just headed to Thailand. It's only going to be 26. It'll be 100% humidity.
I just realised something.
So it'll be different for them. Like they've left here in 26, 27 degrees, and they're landing in Thailand at 26, 27. But it's totally different. Won't be too bad. That's not a hot temperature, like I say. For us, it's not. Most countries like that we've been to, you'll get an early morning trade, like you go to the markets in the morning. I'm talking 5 and 6 in the morning. You get to see monks and all that sort of good stuff. Have a good meal. Then nothing really happens between 10 and about 5 because everyone goes and has a sleep or there's not much open. But then by 5 o'clock they're open till about 2 in the morning. So they have sort of a split day in most of those humid countries, which is smart. But it's the bitter cold that my wife doesn't like. There were a few days in the UK where it was like, I'm going to talk in Celsius, probably 6, 4, but it was the wind. It goes right through her, so she was rugged up like a polar bear. The cold doesn't bother me that much. Again, it's just the wind. But Chamo just set it straight. He said it was 21 today, but tomorrow is going to be 3 with snow. I've got friends in Canada and they tell me that happens all the time. You think winter's coming, then it seems to stop for a couple of weeks, then it thumps you in the face with 2 feet of snow, then it turns to mush, makes driving a pain in the ass. That's the worst time of the year, I reckon, is the end of winter. In cold climates, it's got a build up of snow, it turns everything into a quagmire. Yeah, it's not, I don't really hate cold. It's just the wind. Like I could be sitting out here in 0 and I'll be going, it's okay. I'll have a jumper on, a pair of Ugg boots, look a bit like a bogan, but I'll be warm. But when the wind kicks in, yeah, it makes it a bit hard. The wind is all the difference in climates. So if you've got a hot climate, but you've got a nice breeze coming off the ocean, it's good. It's the metal in your body that gets to me. Well, I suppose in theory, your body tries to keep it at body temperature, but you would imagine having a lot of metal parts in your body, they would be affected directly by humidity and heat, and probably cold, more so. I watched a show years ago, an English bloke, big guy, big moustache. He does lots of documentaries, or he used to. And he was explaining how people don't even realise, like your core temperature is maintained, your heart, all your organs, they try and maintain at a set temperature. But your peripherals, your hands, your fingers, your elbows, your face, they can be 20 to 30 degrees cooler because of where you are, if you're working out in that climate. Hello, Vinny. And talking about climates, we had 34 today, Vinny. It was absolutely beautiful. I know most of our northern neighbours would die, but we thought it was magnific. We'd take 94 every day. The night tonight's absolutely stunning. It's probably 28 still, and it is beautiful. Our summer nights are just brilliant. No matter Melbourne, yeah, it's the same, but they get some indifferent weather out of nowhere, whereas we have a fairly steady nighttime temperatures of 26 to 28, or a bit higher during summer, and that's beautiful to be outside on your veranda or your patio, having to swim in the pool. In fact, I prefer to swim at night time because the water is not as cold as it is in the middle of the heat.
I forgot to.
When you go into Marika, it's either going to be May, Vinny, or we're talking this time of the year, because then the wife can catch Salem in Massachusetts on Halloween. So we're pondering. May gives us a certainty of being fairly good weather
I just had to go and
in Canada and the US.
put in the site I got the music from. I forgot to credit them, so I just.
Oh, you put music on that last video.
That's why you didn't hear music.
I didn't hear any music.
No, because I didn't credit.
Ah, I see. What's your schedule, Vinny, in regards to flying? I know you've got a long wait to find out and be passed to do that, but what have they told you? A friend of mine was advised not to fly for 2 years. You'll be on US soil next year. Oh, we should catch up and have a beer, mate.
Where's that?
Where are you going, Vinny? Obviously, that question about when can you fly, that's been answered. Where do you tend to be having a bit of a gander when you get there? We're mainly the northeast. We've got a lot of friends from a long time ago, and also family in the US. Yeah, that's why she wants to do that, Soggy. She wants to experience with the extra hint of witches, and you know what I mean? But I imagine it'll be quite cold. Might add to the excitement. So where's Vinny going to be in America? We're mainly northeast and Canada. Just get a ticket there, wherever the road leads. There's an old Australian TV show, I'm trying to remember that old grey-haired bloke? I think it was called The Outsiders, wasn't it? Do you remember it was made in Victoria, called The Outsiders, an old bloke in a ute, be about 65, travelling around and working, and he had a young fella hook up with him. Pretty sure it was called The Outsiders. That was a good old series, that was. You're going to be there for about a month.
That's probably what we will be.
No, probably a bit more.
Or longer, 6 weeks.
Probably about 6 weeks we'll do. Nah, Vinny would get to Vegas and say, what's this crap? He's got the Crown on his doorstep. Like we have. We've got the Crown on our doorstep here.
Oh, Perth casinos. Crap. Not like this in States. I do want to go to the Melbourne one.
Yeah, we figured we planned to see about 6 or 7 of the major cities in Canada and other places in Canada. But I definitely want to do Quebec, so while we're doing Quebec, there's a whole heap of cities within an hour by plane, you know what I mean? So it's just a quick hop, skip and a jump. Probably going to do a little bit of a train trek as well. Apparently the train service is brilliant. So that looks good. Yeah, there's a mate of mine, Danny, told me, his doctor, and he had a pretty severe stroke, recovered brilliantly. In 6 months he recovered, you wouldn't even know he had a stroke. But his doctor said, do not fly for 2 years. But each doctor's different, I guess. I'm sure Vinny's not going to put himself under duress. Oh, you'll love Germany, mate. You will love Germany. And the train system there is brilliant.
Yes.
I don't know whether you saw a video. I had a nice big glass of tall beer sitting on a tray. We were doing 240 kilometres an hour, Vinny, and there wasn't a quiver on top of the head of the beer. Brilliant. And just get first class. It's not that much dearer than cattle class.
Except if you get ripped off like we did the first time.
What do you mean by that?
Remember, maybe because we got our tickets so late, when we were going to...
Oh, we only went on first class.
We went from Frankfurt to Stuttgart.
That was all right.
Yeah, no, the cost was more expensive.
Oh, yeah, it depends. Make sure you do a bit of hunting around for your ticket prices.
I'll go into the actual ticket place. It's cheaper than a outlet or the machine.
I don't know whether you've actually, I mean, you're from Europe originally, Vinny, but I don't know whether you've actually toured anywhere. Definitely, if you get a chance, mate, just listen to one thing I'm saying. If you get any chance to go to Ireland, go there. You'll love it. And if you don't love it, I'll pay for your ticket. You will love Ireland. No, we don't normally do that. If you're willing to drive in the US, I mean, if you're going to spend, well, a month's not really enough. If you're doing 6 months, you just buy an old car and make sure it's good. But we're just going to use the public transport and aeroplanes. Like in most of the cities in Canada, it's 40 minutes between that city and an hour between that one. That's pretty good. You get on a plane, an hour flight. By the time you get up, you're coming down again. Maybe you get a can of beer in on the one trip, but there's enough people that you know now. But be careful. That will probably meet you, and we've had offers for people to come pick us up and do all these sort of things. I don't like forced meetings, so if it happens, it happens, is what I'm saying, and that doesn't bother us if it doesn't happen. But if we know someone's within Kui and they want to catch up and have a meal or have a beer, we'll just say we'll be at this pub or hotel on Sunday. If you make it, we'll catch up with you. That's how we like to do it. Yeah, plane trains. Well, the trains in Europe you will love. Germany transport is unbelievably good. It really is. Very efficient. Very nice people. Most of them will speak English. I speak a little bit of German, but it's pretty crap compared to their English. But if you're going to spend more than a couple of weeks in Europe in general, you can still get I think it's called whatever card it's called, Opal or something. We used it. We put like 50 quid on it. The beauty of this is, when you're finished, you put the card in and say, right, we're done. It gives you everything that's left on the card, plus it gives you your 5 quid or 10 quid deposit on the card back. So you don't lose anything. So we used it heaps under the underground, and that was cool. And it's the same, similar policy. It's called a Euro pass in Europe, but I think you've got to be there a lot longer to get value out of it. I think the train from Stuttgart to Frankfurt was about an hour and a bit. I think it was like €30 each, that's all. Which is about $50 Australian. Travelling in comfort though, makes a big difference. You'll be flying business class to the US and Europe, Vinny? I'm just too big to fly anything else. It's good in business class, you can lay down, have a sleep. And I can sleep anywhere. We've flown a lot of airlines, Qantas, you name it, we've flown them. And the best airline we've come across is Singapore Airlines. And I say that over everything: food, seating, room and distance between people. Really good. Yeah, it's a bit of a hike up. Like, you can fly to the US for, seriously, $1,000 return from Melbourne in cattle class, and it probably cost you, I'm guessing, 6, 7, 8 business class there and back. You pay for what you get.
Yeah. Business class US is cheaper than Germany and all that.
Oh yeah. I think we looked just tentatively at dates in May, and it was something like $6,000 each or something to fly there and back with Singapore. You go from here to Singapore, and then Singapore direct to JFK.
Actually, it could be different.
Have a good day, Danny.
See you, Danny. This is what I got on.
But I definitely suggest you get business class, mate. You want to stretch out, lie down, snooze.
Yeah, you've got to look for good deals.
But no, seriously, we could fly from Perth to to JFK, cattle class, I think it was 1,300 each return. So real cheap. So if you're willing to put up with that, it's a long flight. It's 20 hours from Singapore to JFK, or about that. It's only 5 hours from here to Singapore. But yeah, no, I'm not willing to put up with it. It's just too hard on the body.
Can you hear the dogs? I don't know, I can hear the dogs.
Whinging they're not outside with us now.
No, they're fighting each other. So when you watched my video, you had no music.
I had all the sounds.
You had music?
Yeah. If I did, I didn't notice it, to be honest. But I don't know what Vinny's doing as far as going where in the US, but trust me, Australians don't need to see the west coast of America because it's, you know, sandy beaches, ocean. We don't really need to see that. It's just my opinion, by the way, but Texas reminds me a little bit about Australia. People we know for over a decade, they're very Australian, but they're Americans. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I don't know who you are, mate, but and I don't particularly follow that lady, but you're going to be removed. I'm sorry. Can you just remove that? There's no need to be derogatory, even if you don't like someone. Just turn the other cheek. That's the way to do it.
What am I doing? Removing?
Yep. I mean, I love humour, but being derogatory is sort of inflicting more of your personality on it than the humour you're trying to deliver. But you enjoy yourself. I'll be doing interviews. Well, not an interview, just a bit of a chin wag with people in the near future. I'm going to call the series One on One, where you get, I'd like to get Vinny up there, get your story, tell us what you want to tell us, don't have to tell us everything. Get people to know a little bit more about you, some of the things that happen in your life, your adventures, your misfortune perhaps. But I think this format is what this was made for. And very deep and lasting friendships can form from understanding, not anger, hatred, mistrust, you know, all that crap.
I've actually seen that nickname around.
Yeah, like I say, I don't particularly like that person, but
No.
he's referring to, but I certainly wouldn't be derogatory. No need. Turning your back on someone is far more effective. Oh look, I think that's the good Elvis Travels, is it?
Yeah, you've got the other one blocked.
Have I? Oh well, that makes it easy. I didn't know that. Someone's blocked him, obviously. I've only got a few wrenches, but they've got carte blanche to remove who they please. So we just want to have a good chat. Bit of a chin wag, bit of a laugh, without the expense of someone else being derogatized.
Yes, it's our Elvis.
I believe that the other one is living in luxury now, in someone's ranch accommodation, living the life of Riley. Yeah, I wonder how long that'll last.
Vinny probably knows who that other person was, do you, Vinny?
Don't know. There's plenty of other channels that people like that can go to inflict that type of thing, but not here. And yeah, we've had runs of people coming in to different names and they'll do it for half an hour, but we just end up
No, not with names.
removing them.
Not with names like that.
No, that's right.
I mean, our Elvis here, this one
You're
here.
sneezing in this photo. All right. I can't see the photo. when you do Streamlabs from your phone, all I get to see is the picture and the text. It's all changing. I can see it. I'm pretty sure most people can see it that think about what's happening. My channel will be one of them. Many channels are going to get demonetized. We don't make much, $20 or whatever it is a month, and we always give away little gifts to our friends, so there's no money made on it for us. I don't like super chat. I believe it's inhibitive of a good relationship, and people then expectations and demanding and getting angry because people stop giving. So I don't like that. I don't visit any channel with a super chat or a PayPal link, and it's bliss. I don't have to put up with the shit shows that go on. It's just my opinion. No one has to follow it. Were you going to say that?
I'm not even monetized.
No, even the wife puts out good videos, but she doesn't monetize. But the big crunch is coming, and I mean that in a financial sense. Google, YouTube, and the advertisers in particular. On my channel, people advertise all sorts of things. You know, you get those little ads. No one's going to buy anything off my channel by watching the ad. So if I ran Google or YouTube, I'd be saying to Seeds, sorry mate, you're not going to be monetized anymore. And I go, yeah, no, fair enough. And that's going to happen. It's happening now. I watched a video from someone who keeps an eye on middle rated channels, you know, the ones in the 50 to 100,000 subs. They're all getting demonetized. Just overnight, click, gone. And they're not getting remonetized, and some are being closed. And it's all to do with the advertising dollar. I mean, you've got to be honest with you, it's not a very good business when you've got a slob presenting videos that are awful and demanding money like a begging show, and you've got advertisers spending their money up. They're not going to tolerate with that. There are people who research for companies that say, actually your money is not being spent well. So I want you to demand from Google and YouTube that this happens. And that will probably be no ads on channels under 100,000 subscribers, genuine subscribers, with a certain turnover of this, that, and the other. And that makes good business sense. That means the advertiser gets his dollar spent well. And there must be, I don't know how many channels on YouTube, there must be millions of them. They're about to be folded. In other words, you're not going to have any revenue. Mark my words, when those things occur, those channels will bitch and moan and, you know, hue and cry, and this is wrong, it's not fair. Well, it's a business decision. It is fair. And you're crap anyway. So they're not going to give you any money. And as sure as eggs, mark my other words, when they know they're not going to get remonetized and there's no money in it for them, and Google and YouTube will say there's no PayPal links that will be allowed, you know, it's strictly YouTube, because that's a business decision. These knobheads, if you want to call them for a better name, won't keep making videos. There's nothing in for them. It's like their scheme or scam is run dry, so they'll go and do something else. That's what these people do.
Sky.
Pardon?
I'm looking at the colour of the sky.
Yeah, nice little red hue in the sky tonight.
Yeah, I mean, well, what'll happen will happen. Change
Yeah.
the subject.
Yeah.
I'm going in.
Yeah, it will happen. I mean, you can see the writings on the wall, and it's all for the good. People that stay around and hang around will just chat and get to know each other and form real friendships, instead of this more raiding mob of people who go from one shit show channel to another like hound dogs, and the channel owners throw a little bit of meat on the table and all the hound dogs join in, like mob mentality. I'm sure you know what I'm saying. Maybe that'll end as well, because a lot of people are very shallow. If you just sit back and watch them, you just realise how damn shallow they are. Anyway, enough about that. What's everyone going to be doing today? In about another 2 hours, I'm going to bed. Any plans, Elvis, today? Performing anywhere? life is such a rich tapestry if you're willing to have a look. Yeah, they do. Little puppies get a bit rough. Jealousy more than anything. You'll have one in your lap and the other one will come up and nip. Yeah. But I think puppies are like that in general. Still having another crack at each other right now. Yes, so just imagine coming onto YouTube to catch up with your friends. See how things are going. And learn things about each other. That'd be a nice thing, wouldn't it? Instead of saying, my dad's bigger than your dad, and he'll beat him up. That's what all this is, childish nonsense. But like I say, all this change and demonetisation that will be taking place, and I will be one of them, and that's okay. It's a good thing. It really is a good thing. Hello, Buttercup. There are probably, and I'm giving a rough estimate, of probably the 5,000 people, names if you like, on YouTube. I probably get along with about maybe 100 of them, if that. The rest are just, hound dogs. Just in there for the kill, the chase of the fox, whoever that fox happens to be today. I have a show at the retirement centre, and I'm going to have 60 minutes in the Lisa Marie with Tara. Okay. I think Tara is quite a nice person, actually, of what I've seen of her. Everyone can be nice. Depends why they're being nice, I really like you, Buttercup. Can you stick $600 in my account? I'll like you even more. Yeah, that's not going to happen for me, by the way, but sense of entitlement. I don't know whether it's like a groundswell over the last 3 to 4 months. The amount of people pushing to get money and garnish money from other people is incredible. It's like a virus, and everyone's noticing. The chats reflect that. How people are saying, I'm sick and tired of this. Hatred, anger, accusations, a lot of the time false. And they're stating it in the chat by saying, I don't like this anymore. Yes, we're puppy sitting for 2 weeks. Yes, my wife is an angel, hence the name, Mystic Angel. Wouldn't harm a fly. Well, no, probably she would harm a fly. I think I saw one harm a fly yesterday, actually. I'm buffering. Well, I'll end this shortly anyway. All the big networks will be starting up shortly with their nonsense. It's like if I stopped going to Tucker's for the very reason. Same here. Yep, and I the same. I don't dislike Tucker, but he epitomises someone who used to fight the good fight, and the old analogy of if you can't beat them, he's joined them. And you can package anything you like to sound any way you like it to sound, but I'm entitled to turn my back based on what I've seen change. That's not hatred, that's just me voting with my feet. And like I say, a lot of these channels monetarily will not be monetized in the future, guaranteed. No, I don't work for YouTube or Google, but I can see the writing on the wall clear as day. And if I was an advertiser, like I said, I wouldn't want my money spent on Seeds to Freedom channel. No one's going to buy anything. Why should I give him a few pennies every video? So that's coming. But I don't run other people's channels. I don't tell them what to do. I just don't attend if I think the environment is not up to to what I like to see. So that's how I deal. I don't, this is the way for me to explain to people who question why I'm no longer on certain channels, is that I believe that you shouldn't co-sign to behaviour that you don't agree with. And I'm sure you know what I'm saying. In other words, if someone's behaviour changes markedly and there's money involved and I don't agree with that, I shouldn't just sit in there and co-sign it or agree to it or be codependent to it. So I don't. These channels will eventually not be monetised. Then I'll go back and things will change. Most of them will not hang around. Some will, but most of them will not. So it'll be a better environment, which is a good thing. There's, like I say, I see some people want the attention and adulation. That's certain, for sure. And some people aren't worried about the money, even though they do indirectly ask for it. But every channel that I've seen that has Super Chat, links to Streamlab donation, links to a PayPal, links to a GoFundMe, is just one big shit show. And if anyone's got an argument about that with me, let me rip into me, because that's all I see it unfolding is disruption, hatred, anger, jealousy, egos getting bruised, and demanding money. It's a recipe for a career that is going to be very limited. If you can't be yourself and you're pretending to be something you're not, it doesn't last. Yeah, I mean, I did see something that Tucker said, because someone told me to go and look at a timestamp, and Nicole apparently got demonetized, and he was saying it's something about, well, if you get more donations to your super chat, YouTube and Google will appreciate that and probably not target your channel. That's to akin like saying protection money, when in fact Nicole stated very clearly, no, it was due to some of the transgender videos that she had done over the years, and they've been picked up, and basically that's why she got demonetized. She was very honest. But to state that basically if you get more super chats delivered to your channel, that you will be getting protection from Google and YouTube, is a lie. So I hope Tucker one day retracts that statement, because that's not truth, that's embellishment and a narrative. Sorry, but that's what it is. Yeah, I agree, Adam. We enjoy doing what we're doing. It's like you don't get to see all my videos. I've got over 1,200 videos uploaded to YouTube, and some are just for us. You know, family videos, other vacations we've done, things like that. So there are videos. I don't know how many it shows. I think I've got about 700 or 800 showing. But to portray something to suit a narrative is a lie. It's as simple as that. Now, people can argue with me for the lie, but the truth is, if you're making up a story to embellish a narrative to make sure that your channel will not be demonetized based on the fact you'll get protection from YouTube by doing so, is a lie. It's as simple as that. However you want to package it, it's not the truth. Yes, we've got little puppies. Well, probably one's about 12 and a bit months old, and the other one's about 6. But they're a bundle. It's like having 2 babies in the house, to be honest. I made them mashed potato, and I cooked up an omelette with a bit of butter, so nice and sloppy and yum. Went in the mash, and I cut the smallest piece of bacon you can imagine, tiny little shreds, and mixed all that in, and they love it. But that little bowl I made does them for 2 nights, but they mainly eat just kibble, biscuits. Oh, look, I like some breeds of big dogs, don't get me wrong, I really do. But for my own home, we like the smaller dogs. No, these even the one we had for a long time before she passed away, they had their own little area that they sleep. These go into a little cage of sorts with the two little individual beds, and about now they'll be going to bed and they'll sleep all night, and even if you walk past them going to the toilet, they won't move. It's around about 8 o'clock in the morning they get up and start their day, take them a walk outside and they do their business. And now we've got a little cage out here for them, so when we come out to have a coffee they can be out here with us, because they do not like being ignored. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Buttercup, that's probably true. It's like, if you're not being yourself, you're being something for a reason. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're putting on a facade and a presentation of something that's not normally you. I'm 6'5", even when I'm wet. But like I say, people can do whatever they like on their channels. I would never go back and say I don't approve of what you're doing, because it's not my business. But I'm entitled to walk away from it based on the fact that I can see what's going on. One of your dogs is near the end. Yeah, and you'll make the decision when it comes to when the pain is too much. And it's the right thing to do. That's what we did with our dog. You don't want to do it. I mean, you really don't want to do it, but you know that to keep the dog going is for your benefit, not the dog's, and then you realise the time has come. And it's like the hardest decision you make. It's very hard to make that decision, but you do it out of love. That's why you do it. Our dog was a member of our family, so it was a great loss. I'm going to shoot inside and come at it, so there's not going to be anything here now. So if you want to swear and carry on, go for it. Adam says, I'm 6'2". I don't know why in my whole life, big dogs, little dogs, I don't even know them. I never have a problem. And other people will go out and they get bit. I don't show any fear. I don't have any fear. It could be half of it. But dogs, I tend to just look at them. And I always go down to ground level. I go on my haunches, so they're not threatened. That's pretty much just body language, of course. But I've had dogs come up and say, "There you go." And then the neighbour will say, "Well, that's unusual. The dog normally bites people." Be back in 1 minute. Just making sure the side gate was closed. I forgot to check earlier. Yeah, they will. And if your kids are like my kids, bless them, the day after the dog passes on, we'll say things like, "We'll get you another puppy, Mum." And they do it with the greatest of intentions. But it's the last thing you want to hear. You close it. Ah, okay. See? She's the boss of the swamp. It's a beautiful night here, seriously. It's about 28. Gentle breeze. After a day of 90 something, 92 I think it was, which we loved. Winter's gone, you little beauty. It is. When you have a pet, whatever it is, for long enough, you know when the pet's not right. Like goes off its food or chews grass, you know, you can see it obviously in a bit of pain. You don't hang around, you take it to a vet, as you would do one of your children. So it's no different than having a child at all. The care is the same. Except the only difference is the dog can't look at you and say, my tummy hurts. We've always given, like tonight with the dogs, I made a little bit of mash and scrambled egg and tiny little bit of bacon shredded really fine. But that's not their meal. That was like a little supplement, and they have dog food as the main supplement. Even with our dog, we would on a table, maybe I had a piece of beef and I cut it a little spoonful up and a bit of gravy and a bit of mash. That's all our dog used to get. It wouldn't be every night, but we'd give it to her. She'd love it, but generally eat biscuits. Biscuits have all the proteins that are required for the animal. Yeah, you got to do that, Buttercup. Just cover all your bases. Look, you might get more time, but let's see what the bloods give. 55 degree here. It's cold. Leaves are changing colours. Autumn is in the air. Soon everything will be pumpkin spice and pumpkin spice. Yes. We're so fortunate here. I mean, you've heard me whinge about it being cold, but there's only 2 months of the year I can't grow anything. For 10 months of the year I can grow whatever I damn well like. Yeah, I do that for my daughter. What I do is I go and buy some off-cut lamb, like the shanks. They cut them up into bits of mayonnaise, a bit of bone and a bit of meat, and I'll braise them for probably 2.5 hours. Big pot. And then we make up like 30 or 40 little supplementaries. Like we'll get a bit of the shredded lamb meat and we'll put some carrot and mashed carrot, mashed potato, some peas, and little packages. So in my daughter's fridge there's all these little bags that she can just take out the night before, and then the following day the dogs can have a little treat. Yes, I mean, I treat them as part of the family. That's why I don't use words like that, like you little cutie or my little babies, because they have a name and I treat them as such. That's just how I am. There's no coochie goo coming from beef for the dogs, but they do love a little bit of protein, and it's good to give them a little bit of protein. But seriously, if you've got older dogs in particular, there's great food in the way of kibble for them, and that's their main diet. It's just the little tidbits every now and then. Like if I've got a big bone, even these dogs get it. They'll be on there for a couple of hours, try and get the marrow out, all that sort of thing. That's good for them. A lot of people say you should give your dogs raw bone. Trust me, they much prefer marrow that's been cooked. They get their little head in there. And I like it too, to be honest. Well, Buttercup, my theory of life is that we're all part of something wonderful. That means everything. It doesn't have to be just humanity, plants, the planet itself, animals. Booz booz. The ginger cat's back. But it doesn't go to the garden. Yes, I do believe we're all part of the same thing. Oh, you certainly know when your animal's happy. The only thing dogs can talk with is their eyes, and they let you know. And their paws, and they're nuzzling up to you, and that's what it is. I think life is a tapestry, and like a jigsaw, we're just a piece of it. Yeah, not too bad. At the start of this video, Adam, there's a little look at the garden and a little look at the wall that's been going up down the other side. but I'll do the building video at the end of the week. But yeah, it's going alright. The plants have probably doubled in size in 2 weeks, but we've had some beaut weather. Bit of sunshine makes a big difference. The soil's not good, so I'm not expecting what I would normally expect, but it was put in for a reason. Wish you could put a photo in here. Oh, you mean now? Are they lying on you? The puppies just like to lie on the missus all the time, cuddle up. Yeah, I think the only thing that Trish didn't do is not have the knowledge. I mean, it's second nature to me to do that. Like cooking, a lot of it's second nature to me. But if you don't have the knowledge, you make mistakes. Sometimes the biggest thing that people do with plants is overwater them. It's as simple as that. Yes, and that sentence is very powerful, Buttercup, and it's not anything to do with money, in my eyes. Money is a part of life, but what you just said, what you give in life matters, and it's generally time. The most precious thing we have is time, not money, at all. I'll argue blue in the face with anyone over that. A lot of people don't realise that, and people not doing it for me. Like if I say, why don't you just plant it, because someone says, oh, I like using parsley and chili and garlic in my cook, and I said, well, why don't you just grow a few plants? Oh, I haven't got time. Yeah, you're on the internet for 12 hours. You got time? Nah, I haven't got any time. So it's and it's their life, so I won't push the point, but you have time. Giving someone $10,000 if they have a problem is usually a big mistake, because all you've done is enrich that person financially who still has the problem. It's as simple as that. Yeah, I mean, you could close your eyes and imagine when you were young and you open them and you think, geez, who's that old bloke in the mirror? But it is fleeting. Let's do the time up again. But there's lots of these channels that, and I like making songs up, by the way, and I'm working one at the moment, and it's just one of these songs you know very well, just that I changed the words. Part of it goes, and you live your life through a camera and a lens, never knowing who to beg from when the cold sets in, etc., 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 said the king and I. Very true. Very poignant. You live your life through a camera and a lens, as I'm doing, but for a different reason. It's probably not anyone's business to ask someone to change. It's your opportunity to offer suggestions, but that's about where it ends. You can't change the spots on a cheetah. I mean, if everyone just seriously sat back for a minute and thought of all the monies that have been given, what change has taken place? And when you think about that, you start realising nothing's changed. So by giving, you usually maintain the poverty level of the person involved. Like I say, a person with problems throwing money at them is just someone with money and problems still. The only person that generally fixes problems is yourself. That really is how it works. If you're an alcoholic and 150,000 people say you've got to get off the alcohol, you're a drunk, you're mean, you're nasty, they won't do it. It's when they wake up one morning and the doctor says, yeah, your liver's pretty much buggered. You've got cirrhosis and your health's declining rapidly. Then no one has to tell them. The doctors just explained what happened. The adverse effects of doing so for decades means your body is dying. And then they stop drinking. That's how severe it gets for some people. And alcoholism, I will always state, is worse than any drug because it's self-destructive to yourself and inflicting pain and misery on others, whereas a lot of drugs just affect the person involved. But alcohol is social disaster. Well, the thing about people that you obviously see doing the begging, do it slyly or do it directly, doesn't matter, still begging. If I said to you, of all those people you've seen, and you've seen people donate to them, like I said a moment ago, what's changed? Nothing. If you gave someone $50,000, you might not see them for a year, but they'll be back. And they'll say they've got no money, and they're doing it hard, and can you help me out? It's like that's the pattern. So the best thing you can do for someone who's asking for money is not give it, because giving the money has resulted in no change at all in attitude or behaviour. So if someone hit rock bottom, they got no money, they'd probably get a job. They'd probably clean up their act and realise the world does not owe them a living. And I don't care what people give. People might think, oh yeah, but you're anti-e-begging. I am, but I don't care what people give because I know it has no effect on the behaviour. It just polishes the ego of someone who's begging. It doesn't improve their life. In fact, in a lot of cases, it keeps them bouncing along the bottom of poverty. And you know a few who I'm talking about. I think the secret to life is that when you see the need, without it being stated obviously, you'll help. When you see the greed, don't do it. See, Tony Abbott, he's a bottom bouncer. He throws in an enormous sum of money to people that give them hope, and he believes that Tony loves him, and we all probably know Tony's just taking a piss out of him, but it really just keeps him bouncing down the bottom of poverty. But that's what people do, like I say. I've seen people get thousands of dollars, $500 or $600 in a day, and the years roll by and other people don't. Other people demand money, and if you really just sat back and thought about what I said, is that of all this money that's been given, what's changed? Nothing. So obviously giving the money doesn't work. I think I feel very sorry for Chris, to be honest, because his alcoholism, he is nearly at the bottom. He is nearly rock bottom, and it's very sad. And just the one change in his life would make things unbelievably better to get off the alcohol. But like I say, generally it's a doctor in a white coat that leans forward and tells you the effects of your alcoholism over decades. That makes you change. And some people need that, and sometimes that's too late. But I don't go to channels and tell people what to do. Adam, I mean, I'm not going to give you my full background, but he is basically sharing his pain. When you see someone react, abuse, continue to do so, it comes from somewhere. It's not an act in his case. It is a fact. He is sharing his pain. In other words, he wants you to drag, he's like in a really big dark hole, and he doesn't see any light at the end of the tunnel, but his only way of dealing with it is to drag you down into the darkness with him. So you're witnessing a classic example of someone reaching the rock bottom, and there's only two ways that this goes. If there's a good scenario or a better scenario, or there's a really bad scenario. So that's why I feel sorry for Chris. I don't certainly don't approve of any of his behaviour, but it's now rock bottom. He is probably the first person in the last couple of years that's reached that point. Many others are going to follow. The biggest test for these people and their character and behaviour is when the money dries up, as in Google saying, no more. No, we're going to can all these freaky channels. They're going. Well, yeah, but Adam, there are some people that will listen, and there are some people who will listen and ignore you because their storyline and their narrative is set in concrete. And unfortunately, he's one of those. It's everyone else's problem that's causing him grief. That is the sure sign that you've reached the bottom, when you continually blame other people for your demise. And he can be helped, trust me, there are people that can help him. But he's the one that has to help himself. And what I've only seen a couple of clips over the last couple of months, and he is rock bottom, literally on the bottom. And like I say, I only feel sorry for him because I don't sympathise with him. I empathise, but he's got nowhere else to go. But there is a good thing about hitting rock bottom, is that there's usually only one way to go. It's usually up, or you flatline. So it's big decision time in his life. Ice cream is good. Tony, I thought you preferred onions. Still, maybe it's onion flavoured ice cream. He's been to the supermarket today. He's got one of these chocolate coated thingies. I put money on it. And he sat down and thought one should be enough, but there's another one in the freezer. It's just 12 feet to the fridge. I can get that. I'll do it for Warringah. Climate change. Tony, don't keep opening that freezer, mate. You're going to affect climate change. But there are so many similarities with channels now. It's not alarming, but it's obvious trends where people have followed behaviours of others. And some people who used to have a fight to fight against certain things have simply used the analogy, if I can't beat them, I'll join them, which is sad. Some, I hope it's temporary. Some are not. Buller splits, they're on special, aren't they, Tony? You got them from Coles, didn't you, mate? They're not bad, the grandkids like them. They're cheap ice cream too. It was on about half price for about 10, about $4 or a bit less. During summer, we either make or we buy icy poles, and we'll have a couple during a hot day. Good. A couple of ice creams a day though, Tony. You know, those budgie smugglers might get a little bit puffy, like Dame Edna. Just giving you a slight word of advice. There's no such thing as diet ice cream. But I truly believe I see people in chats reflecting my words, not quoting me, but my words that I say, that they've had enough of this nonsense. It seems universal that people are reaching a point that all these people that are being mean and nasty and ego polishing and derogatory, that a lot of people have had enough. I'd love people to have channels where they can just talk, express their life ambitions or what they've done within limitations of privacy and anonymity, but to just treat it like a good tavern where you go there to sit down, have a quiet drink, coffee or a beer, and reflect on life and how things are similar. We've got so many more similarities than differences, no matter whatever our life is. It's reached a toxic level of greed, self-adulation, entitlement, to the point that people follow it like a script. And now the ones that didn't used to do it. And it just reflects a lot about society, I believe. Online, people are a bit like the Joker. They're not a real character. They're pretending to be something they're not. And you get found out. Each one of us has a story. It's usually far more interesting than fiction or lies. And I'd like to get Buttercup up one night, and to keep her anonymity, she will share whatever she wants to share. Life stories, what happened, the good things, the bad things, within reason, of course, but then that story is really interesting. It's like you'll know someone, then they'll explain what's happened with their life and how they've been, the good and the bad things, places they've been, adventures, food, tastes, cultures. We've all done it. And that's our story, that's our life. And it's far more interesting listening to something like that than listening to innuendo, lies, accusations, etc., etc. It's very sad. Susan came in the room, did she?
Yeah.
Hello, Susan.
Oh, I don't know if I like the watermelon.
Detective Susan Brown.
Oh, that breeze is cool.
It's nice now, it's beautiful. Adam says, every time I record and watch my vid, I get bored and delete it. It's rare, I'm happy with it, but I put it on YouTube. Yeah, that's you just being you, Adam. Bit of a perfectionist. Yeah, and it's a good thing to be. It's a good thing to be your own critic, because it's a self-analysed area, and you might not like, maybe you walked across the room and your belly was sticking out, you think, oh, I'm going to cut that, it's no good. That's fine. It's putting anything on film is an expression of yourself. It's an extension of yourself, and you want that to be seen in its best light. I, however, don't really care. I don't really brush my hair. I've got hair though. Those old blokes out there, they've got no hair. I got hair. But life is made up of all the beautiful things and the warts. You know what I mean? There's lots of warts in our life. Some might actually be physical, but you know what I mean. There's plenty of things that we wish we had not done or spent money on. But the truth is, that's your life, that's your story, it's your truth. And so many people come on here and pretend to be someone they're not. And some people come on here and just lie. Some people come on here and just want to get money out of people. Some people come on here with no intention of being just themselves. And that's the secret to life. Be yourself. Yeah, mate, I'm the sort of guy, Adam, if you're doing a video, say live hangout, say, Adam, you got a boogie hanging out of your nose, mate. Get rid of the damn thing. It's part of life. Boogers happen. Hey, we could make stickers for bumpers. Adam, man, you could be multi-millionaires. T-shirts, caps, bumper stickers. Boogers happen. I think we're onto something here, mate. Just a thought. Someone's going to do it now, don't you? You know, there's someone on YouTube, if they peruse my video, will say, I tell you what, I'm going to make a t-shirt out of that. Boogers happen. We, of course, will get good lawyers, Adam, and we'll take them for every cent they're worth. See you later, Tony.
See you, Tony.
Hang in there, kid. If you save up another $1.99 by next week, you can donate to a total vagabond. Free world. I'll take a filter off your clothes down. Danke, mein Lieben.
Go wash my face.
I mean, some of the things that I've seen on some channels, it's like they try and create a narrative that everything is exceptional, everything is fantastic. It's like they're explaining they've climbed Mount Everest, when in fact they've just driven up the road a couple hundred miles. And it's like, no one could ever do this. I did this. I went to the pizza shop and got a pizza. That's incredible. I think by the time you get to 86, you should be entitled to do any amount of boogers hanging out your nose and abuse people.
Did you read Adam's comment? Put your camera the other way. Probably.
I went up and whispered to him, "You're flying there." Yeah. I remember going to a public toilet once in a pub, and this old bloke just let rip the biggest fart you can imagine. I mean, echo chamber. He just turned around and said, "Geez, that was a good one." I thought it was funny.
Dogs are tired.
But amongst all this toxicity, I believe that something good will come from it. Not a phoenix rising, and certainly not overnight. But the closure of many channels, the demonetization of them, well, a lot of people aren't going to hang around. So we'll be left with some good playing fields, in my opinion. I think it's coming quicker than people think. But I'd love to get people up, and I suppose it'd be an interview of sorts, but I wouldn't talk much. You know, I'd say things like, "Susan, what was it like growing up where you were?" Not being specific.
You have to ask questions sometimes to get people going, because some
Yeah.
people don't know how to start.
If Susan gets going and starts rattling on, I'll just let her go. People are interested in Susan Brown's story, not me asking her questions. But there are exceptional things that we all do in our lives that no one would ever know. Yep, that's the best way to go, Adam. It's like you go outside and the breeze goes that way, just go with it. Don't fight it. Enjoy it. Savour the moment. Yeah, well, it's like I say, Buttercup, the way to deal with things that we are perturbed by is to remove ourselves from the situation. If someone is giving you grief, just ignore them. If you find where you are you're uncomfortable, don't be there. It's because you're not there, you'll be noticed more than anything. Hello, Scarlett Poppyfield. Every time I see the name Scarlett Poppyfield, I want to sing Jim Jiminy Jim 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 Chiroo, la da 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 la da 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 da. Sounds like Mary Poppins, Scarlett Poppyfield, doesn't it?
You had that discussion before, I think.
I've got a friend, well, my wife and I are both friends with this lady in Arkansas. I'll give you a great example of what could be done. And I'm not doing it, but it could be done. She has struggled for 5 or 6 years out in the bush in Arkansas, way out in the bush. She does everything by herself. She gets by. She's now purchased some land. It's not very expensive, but she's got land. Jobs don't pay much out that way in Arkansas, so she doesn't earn a lot of money.
She does seasonal farm
yeah,
work.
she does seasonal farm work. I would love the community, if they knew what we know about her, to chip in and buy her like a Amish cottage, you know, not a big one, just an Amish cottage.
Yeah, her
That would
community.
be a great use of the community helping someone out. She's like a female Dick Prenicky. If you've ever watched Dick Prenicky, you know who I'm talking about. And it's brilliant what she does, but she always struggles, and she's got grandbabies, and she loves animals. So if anyone said, "Would you like to contribute to something like that?" I'd say, yeah, that's fantastic. But she would never ask you for it. Do you know what I mean? You see the difference where I see a need without someone sticking their hand out. That's the difference in life.
Scarlett's name is in memory of the fallen in Flanders Field, World War One.
I remember telling the story, Scarlett, both my grandfathers fought at Flanders. It wasn't until the 1960s, because they actually had trench maps. Everything was done methodically. They were about 300 metres apart. Didn't know each other, obviously. Both young men at the time. But yeah, in my family, there's a lot of people that we lost in World War One and World War Two.
Actually, you could have done a bit of research. It was free weekend on Ancestry.com. You could go and type in a name and they would have given you a lot of info.
We can buy it if you like. It's not that
Well,
expensive.
you did pay for it once, but I mean...
No, I never paid for it.
Well, the weekend just gone was actually free to search names.
Adam, to answer that question, the character of the involved will be exemplified one way or the other when the money's removed. In other words, you'll see the true character. I'm not here to judge what would happen, but you'll see the true character of people when there is no money involved. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, he used to. He used to do music and streams for the fun of it. A lot of people. I would never say to Scarlett or Adam or Susan, just give me some money and I've got a really good cause, like this cause of this lady in Arkansas, but you wouldn't know about that. I would never do that because that's not open and honest. I would say, this is what I'm doing, but I'd give you a big, broad spectrum of what this lady has done over many years, tribulations and trials that she's been through, and I would leave it up to you to judge how that would happen. I mean, I would like to do something like contact an Amish company and say, look, can you open an account where people can donate to, and when this figure gets to the certain amount, to buy the cottage, and let us have access to that so we all can just click on a website and go, oh yeah, there's five grand in there. Wants that sort of thing anyway.
She'd be mad at me if she knew what I was saying.
She wants to build what's the name, a cob.
Yeah.
She wants to go back to
it's just, I just know that there are deserving people on the planet, but it's up to each individual to discern the need, not the greed, if you know what I mean.
I don't know if Buttercup or Adam...
in the Navy, okay, yeah. That would have been a pretty tough existence for sure in World War One warships.
I don't know who was in the room when I was talking about the pup Em and I saved. Was
I don't remember. Do you want to sit there and tell her?
No, I was just going to update that he's doing well.
No, come and tell her.
No, because I'm going in.
So you start saying something, then you stop.
I'm just saying that he's doing well, that's all. I just thought of it.
Alright, there's a little puppy dog that was born about a week ago. Had a hair lip, and what else? And a cleft palate. And there's a specialised group of people that actually fix those problems. But the update is that it could have died, but these people got it in time and the puppy is doing well. If any of you knew the story from last week, that's where it's at the moment. And they've promised to keep in touch, haven't they?
Yeah,
so that's good.
I've got an update today.
So maybe we'll get a photo in a few months' time and show you. Yeah, I know that if this lady knew I was talking about maybe raising money for her, she'd probably kick me in the nuts. In a nice way, you know what I mean? But there is a huge difference between perceiving that you're donating to someone to do something and they don't do it, they just keep taking your money, than having something structurally built without the money going to me or money going to the person, and then it's very clear and there's clarity and how much and what went. That I don't know how you'd ever do that. I'm not that clever to set, and I'm not in the US, so I couldn't do it. But if anyone was deserving of a lift up, it would be someone like that person I'm talking about. I haven't mentioned her name, so I shouldn't get a kick in the nuts.
She wouldn't mind, I'm telling you, because she wants to do a cob house anyway. She wants to do it by herself.
well, as much as she can. She's had YouTubers go there and help. They went last week or the week
Yeah,
before.
and some other friends we had about a decade ago went there and helped them.
Yeah, no, there's other
Yeah.
two lady YouTube
Yep, that's right, they did.
gritters or whatever they are.
Or put some poles, and in
Yeah.
Arkansas they got a cap just like in Canada of limestone.
I better
So
check.
putting poles in the ground was a bit tough.
I better check out puppies.
But there's far more deserving need of just genuine people who never ask. So I think we're no longer going to give money online. We've done it in person, but we wouldn't do it online anymore because the story changes. There's a motive movement, like you get someone say, look, we're going to do a hangout and raise money for Mrs. Smith's dog or something, and then people donate 10 and you see a flood of people donating. It's like a mob mentality in donations. It's all good, but if you don't know the person and that person really doesn't have a dog and you've been deceived and misled, it tarnishes you. Sometimes you could help someone who was genuine, but you think, nah, I remember the dog story. Do you know what I mean? But I would prefer people to help people in their own areas. There's so much you can do in your own area. You don't have to deal direct with the homeless. If you've got a shelter, you can contact the people and say, look, I've just got some old clothes, can I drop them off to you? And believe it or not, that means a lot to someone who's got nothing. Yeah, no one wants to see going. Look, in Australia, no one ever goes hungry. There are that many associations that look after people. Homeless people never go hungry. There are certain people that go around in vans, and loads of them, will drop off drinks, water, sandwiches, clothing, blankets. Some homeless people don't want to live in a home, but they get catered for by these groups of people, associations. But I will never give any money to anyone that demands it, because it's just wrong, and it's usually a lie. Usually the people I've helped in the past and my wife are people who've never asked for any help. They're the people that need the help the most. They don't ask. I got a message from someone saying today, the man in the van stated, might not have been today, but stated that if he got a job, no one would donate to him. Hello? So if he gets a job, he's got money, but no one would donate to him. So his theory about not working is he needs the donations to come in because that's his income. You don't see the delusion? His own statement, if I got a job, no one would donate to me? Yes, Scarlett. And if you're like us, you'll discern over a period of time. And I remember there was a young couple across the road from us when we moved last year to go and help our mother who passed away to a different state, right over the other side of the country. I went across the road and I said to the young fellow, and he was a bit scared. He said, who is it? I said, oh, just across the road, I'm a neighbour. We're moving and I've got a table and chairs and a lounge if you're interested. It took him about a minute to open the door. And then his father came out and said, oh, we're going to have a look. So they came across and they took it over. Now, the old fella said to me after they got it, he said, that's really kind of you because they've only got 2 beanbags to sleep on. They've got nothing else in the house. So these people never asked. Do you know what I mean? By chance, I just knocked on their door and said, were they interested? And they said, after a while, I think they're being cautious. They didn't believe someone was going to give them something for nothing. And that's what we did. And it's like, no skin off our nose to do that. And that's my point. They would never have asked. I didn't really know them. And it was just a query from me to them, and they said, yep. And I tell you what, that table, the chairs, and some were just plastic chairs, I ended up grabbing other stuff, like stuff we weren't taking, cups, plates, pots, whatever. And they didn't have anything. They had just enough money to pay the rent, a couple of beanbags to sit on, and a little tiny telly they had. But they never complained. So you start thinking, they're the people in life that could do with the help, but you don't hear from them most of the time. It was only by chance that we did. And I think he's being very cautious. I mean, I'm a fairly big bloke, and he was only a little fella. So I imagine if he gets a big shadow on his door and he looks at it and thinks, holy cow, what's that? But then he realised we were genuine. And like I say, no skin off our nose. Wasn't over kindness. It was a case of where to get out, and I had to get rid of this furniture one way or the other. I would have gone up the street if someone didn't answer. And I said, you've just won. I would even use words like, hello, you've just won a new lounge. Well, it's 5 years old, but it's free. Do you want it? But most of the time, like I say, you see people online who ask, demand, or slyly ask for money. In my eyes, I have no interest in that at all. At all. Because it's like, why are they doing that? Is it to never work again? Is it just to get money, supplement their income? I just think they are not in need. And it really wears on me that people get money and then it's like a hunger. They demand more. Words like, yeah, you donated to me a year ago, but I haven't seen any of your money since. Like, hello, part of your pension scheme. They have to keep giving. It's terribly wrong. Yeah, Sid's, I'm a great believer in that. And it usually comes from someone different. We've done a lot of things in our life, and people that were the receiving end of ours, they've never sort of leaned back and said, look, here's something for your kindness. It's usually someone else, just out of the blue. Like, I suppose you'd call it karma. We'll say, look, you can have this. And you think, wow, that's $1,000 I don't have to spend to get that, but thanks very much. But it's reaching a boiling point. I truly believe, like I say, I'm sure all of you spend more time than I do on chats, have seen what I've seen in a limited area. People are saying they've had enough of this nonsense. It seems quite universal that people are stating, like, I don't approve of this, I don't like this, I didn't sign up for this, if you like. Stray dogs, appreciatives and humans. Yeah, they are. Yep, we've got a lady that does just that. But I often think to myself, why do some of these people do these channels? Is it for recognition? Is it for ego? Is it for adulation? I don't know. Some of them I don't get. But then when you add to that channel the request for money, then I think it just falls apart. Your character was one thing, and now it's another. And just to dismiss people saying, well, when people give me money, I'll do whatever I want with it. I'm thinking, well, obviously you don't need it. Because a lot of money that is given to these people doesn't improve their lives. It just keeps it status quo. Miserable, lonely, and bouncing along the bottom of poverty.
Did you hear Milo barking?
Yeah, what was he going on
He
about?
looked at himself in the mirror and he's barking at himself.
Maybe it's the first time he's seen a mirror.
Probably too dark, you won't be able to show that. That's the pup. He's sucking
Alright.
on a dummy.
Maybe you'll see that.
That's the pup we saved.
That's the little puppy that was saved with the cleft palate. It's a staffy. I don't know if you can see that well.
He's sucking on a dummy.
Oh, your light just come on.
Oh.
Yes, ego is a weird thing. Some people start off with no ego, get a bit of attention, and then an ego is born. I think I started watching YouTube when it began, whether it was 2006 or 2007. I had no intention of putting anything up. Just I enjoyed some of the informative channels, and there's some really good channels in the early days about how to do things, and gardening and cooking. I used to love them. I think it was 2010 when I actually started my channel, and I've only ever had one channel. But I still think what I think is going to happen is, whoop, someone's ripping on the motorbike, is that good things will come out of this toxicity. Maybe some people will wake up. Maybe some people, not for my reasons, for themselves. Some people will no longer be there because there's no... So it may be a good thing. And I'm no trendsetter, but I do like the idea of getting on with one person and learning a bit about their story. It's very intimate when people tell you things that happened in their life, like they nearly got killed by being run over by a car. Maybe their parents fought. They had a tough childhood. Then they did something wonderful, climbed Mount Everest, whatever. But everyone's life is a fabric and a tapestry that is usually unbelievable. And it's like, I'd like to, if people are willing, to tell part of their story. Of course, like I say, keep your anonymity, where you live and what you do and who you are, but just to reveal your story, because a lot of the times people don't get an opportunity to do a story. I first noticed you on Rosie Stream years ago. Yeah, no, I was always blunt with Rosie, telling all the nonsense that's going on, and the bigotry, and the misogyny. She didn't like that. I said, well, don't invite me. But I think with the change that is going to happen monetarily, maybe some people will, what we say in Australia, pull their head in and be the person they really are. But like I say, the truth is, I would rather listen to, say, Scarlett's story about life and how things and kids, whatever, animals and places you've been. For me, that beats anything. That's a real fabric of a real person's story. Instead of just this little tidbit about, oh yeah, I used to do fishing. It's not that we want to know everything about Scarlett, but everyone's story is interesting. It really is. Don't let it go to your head. You don't know me well enough, Adam. I have no ego at all. I believe everyone is equal. I believe that we are all capable of doing incredible things. And I truly mean that. Some of us would like to have done things. I never went to the Antarctic. I had an opportunity. I may have told this story before, but I used to work as a surveyor. So I had that capability to work with scientists as a surveyor. But you also had to be dual skilled, and I could cook. And I went through the pre-training. It was all going ahead, and then it didn't go ahead. It was family reasons. I didn't go ahead. That was 40 years ago, and I'm never going to go to the Antarctic. I was feeling like Scott Fitzgerald or Scott of the Antarctic. I thought this is going to be such a wonderful adventure. It was for 9 months, and I thought as years went by, I'm never going to be able to do that. It's only part of my story, but for me it's very poignant because it's something I really wanted to do and I never did it. So it's a story of what didn't happen. Another computer, a good one, and then I will learn. Someone can help me set up a channel, not a channel, because I use Streamlabs on the phone, but apparently you can't use Streamlabs on your computer or laptop, so it'll be StreamYards or something. But it won't be every night. I'm not going to do this every night because I've got too many things to do. But maybe once a week, and I'm not going to call it something like story time. I think an appropriate name for something like that happens from time to time would be simply one-on-one. That's the title of the show, with Susan Brown, with Adam Kay. And the story can go for as long as they wish to tell it. It might be a 20-minute story. It may be an hour story. But a story well told usually comes from the person who's lived that story. Like, I'll give you an example of what I did 5 years ago. I got my wife's mother to sit down, and you'll never see this video, by the way, and over about 2 weeks I got about an hour and a half of video of her story when she was a child in Germany during the war, how she feared the Russians, Americans and the Germans, how her life was as a young woman, when she married, when they immigrated to Australia in the early 1950s. This story was amazing. I sat down with her by myself and I had sort of leading questions that I would say, what happened after you arrived in Australia? And then memories would flood back. And we all now have a copy of her story in living video that we can watch anytime we like. And I suppose if someone took up the opportunity, there'd probably be a business in doing that. But this was done for very personal reasons. And it's a beautiful video, isn't it? And even some of the stories she told, now she had 3 girls, my wife being one of them, they didn't even know some of the stories. Some of the funny bits in the stories were like, yes, when we got married and the child was born 3 months later, I said to the priest, it's a miracle. I said, okay.
She thought that we just never worked it out.
Yeah. But she was a very funny person. Very loyal, loving to her kids and husband. But it was great to do. If you get an opportunity to do it with your parents, and I know you'll have the same issues I had, like I would only do 10 minutes. And she would say, that's enough. And she would forget where we were, but what I would do is before I started the camera again, I said, oh, well, you've just told the story where the Americans came through your village and gave you a banana and how you started to eat it without peeling it. Because she'd never seen a banana before. And then she, oh yeah, and then she would then restart the story again. And I let her go at her own pace. So that's why the video goes to about an hour and a bit. But that was 2 weeks' work doing it. Not work, I enjoyed doing it, don't get me wrong. And I'd always catch her when she was relaxed. So we'd just let things flow. And then another 10 minutes would pass and she said, oh, I'm going to have a coffee. I said, righto, we'll can it for today.
So I'll say goodnight to everyone because I'm going to go sit on the bed with the puppies.
That's wonderful, Suze. I am a genealogist. Everyone should do that. Yeah, it'd be something, because it's a living memory of the spoken word and the visual, which you could tell Scarlett, your great-grandchildren, what your grandmother was like. But it's your interpretation. And I'm not being mean, but you know what I'm saying. If it comes on video with the actual person, there's a memory that's encapsulated for kids, grandkids, and further. Look, 200 years, some of you will know what I'm saying, they're going to pass like that. That's how quick it goes. One day I'll do my story on video, and I hope my wife does the same. Like I say, they're all a twisted fabric. None of it is like clean living all the way through your life. There's things you regret and things you're very proud of. But if you tell the whole story, people get the whole picture. I missed half of Scarlett's there. Wayne was fled to Lithuania and went to Germany. My ex-husband was born in DP camp near Stuttgart. Yep, we just came back from Stuttgart recently, actually.
I'm going to go sit with the puppies.
Yeah, even doing a video about the genealogy of your family is interesting, even if you're telling the story. At least it's a story that's forever on film. But I can tell you, it was a great experience with my wife's mother. She was a great joker, loved life, didn't want to leave, but had to go. But her story is now entrenched. I made copies for every member of the family. I put them all on little sticks, you know, USBs, and people that weren't there and people that were in Germany and people around the world, they all got a copy. And I hope that other people do the same thing, because it's looking back on it, it's like she's gone now, so everything she says is very precious. Do you know what I mean? I think one of the dogs bit the other dog, if you heard that in the background. But I won't keep you up. Enjoyed your company again, all that have been through here, and hope we catch up again. But think about it, if you're interested, be a few months, but Buttercup, Scarlett, Susan, if you want to come on and do something like that, you'll get no pressure from me. if you're willing to unfold your story but keep your anonymity, it will be enjoyable, maybe even for you. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of us have a story and we just don't ever tell anyone. But it might be an enjoyable experience. But I wouldn't do anything without your permission. I wouldn't pressure you. That's not the reason I'm doing it. I like listening to people's stories. Far, far more interesting than fiction and lies. All right, good people, have a great day wherever you are. Enjoy your morning coffee if that's what you're doing. If you have to go to work, try and win the lotto. I never been able to do it, but give it a go. And Rujek, sorry mate, hello and goodbye. So until next time, if you want to see Awesome Hooker's Garden, when this uploads, which is usually an hour or two later, at the very start, you see the puppies, and then I think I show you the garden. So if you want to look at how our garden's going, you'll see it then. So until next time, bye-bye.